Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Art of Being a Woman. I'm your host, Courtney, and today we are discussing the art of becoming self-focused. This topic was originally called The Art of Being Self-Obsessed, and I wrote it almost 6 months ago when I first started writing and podcasting. At the time, that was the perfect title because I have always been someone that was a giver. And I feel like when I say it out loud, it sounds like I'm bragging or that I think I'm an amazing person. But it's just in my nature. If you are familiar with astrology, then this will help you understand me a little bit more. I have a lot of Virgo placements in my chart. I'm a Scorpio, but I have a Virgo moon, a Virgo rising, and a Virgo Venus. So being of service, acts of service, and being useful has always been my love language. And that's always been my way of showing that I love the people in my life. Now, I get tremendous joy from playing that role in people's lives. I'll be fully honest. Yes, the people around me benefit from me being a giver, but I also benefit because I like to feel useful and I like to feel like I'm of service to someone and that I've made their lives a little bit easier. What I didn't realize, though, was that giving requires boundaries. And honestly, as a teenager, as a child, even as a young adult, which I am still a young adult, I didn't realize that everything required boundaries. I thought that life would sort of balance itself out without me taking a stand and deciding not to overgive to the people in my life. I always assumed that if someone needed my help or needed my time and my energy, it was for a reason. And if I wasn't doing something that was an emergency, then there would be no excuse as to why I can't put my own priorities to the side for the sake of the people that I love. And this worked for most of my life. That's how I would always operate. I could be overwhelmed with work and I can be going to a workout class or spending time with my friends. And if I received a call from someone else or if someone wanted my time, a favor, my energy, I always would drop what I was doing to be a giver and to be a helper. And when I reached my late teen years and my early 20s, I started to build resentment. And I wasn't even sure what it was, but there was this rebelliousness within me that started questioning why I'm always helping other people and why I'm always saying yes. The thing is, nobody in my life forced me to drop the things that mattered most to me. It was something that I was doing to myself without considering how I would feel in the long run. Because of this phase of me building up this resentment secretly, I started to become stingier with my time. But the thing was, it wasn't intentional. It wasn't coming from a place of love. It was coming from a place of hurt. I started saying no more than yes, and I started being very skeptical of being a giver constantly with everyone in my life. And that doesn't mean I was a horrible person, but I definitely didn't feel like myself. I wasn't in my true nature of being a giver like I used to be. And it wasn't until I started learning Kabbalah, which is a spiritual wisdom that is accessible to anyone and everyone, regardless of your religion. It's honestly beautiful wisdom that gives you the tools to live a happy, authentic, and fulfilling life. Something that really woke me up was when I heard in a lecture that each and every one of us has the capacity to give endlessly. Now, that might sound insane. I know when I heard it, I thought it was insane, because how is it possible that we each have it within us to be giving endlessly without getting depleted? And the explanation was a bit complex, so I'm not going to break it down entirely. But to sum it up, what I understood was when we fill our own cup and when we give to ourselves entirely first, then we will never feel depleted when we are giving to other people. That is what truly made everything click for me. I realized it wasn't that other people were expecting too much of me or that I have so many people that rely on me and that I feel responsible for. it's truly that in the process of me taking care of the people that I love and giving to them, I was neglecting myself. I wasn't taking care of myself entirely. I was always putting my needs, my wants, and what made me happy on the back burner. And that is what was leading to my resentment, the choices that I was making. Once I realized that, I had to look at pouring into myself and prioritizing myself from a whole new perspective. Through journaling with myself and meditating, I realized that I wasn't quite sure how to do that. Because every single time I would put myself before another person, especially someone that I loved, whether I tell them no when they ask for something, or at least I say not now because I have to focus on myself first before I can give to you, I would feel tremendous guilt and shame. And I felt as if the very qualities that I tied my worth to started to crumble, because I always considered myself a giving and loving person. And now that I am not constantly giving and loving, I wasn't sure if I was still proud of myself and happy with myself. That is truly what inspired this whole topic, because I really looked at the women in my life and I realized I don't think I'm the only one that does this. I don't think I'm the only one that has a hard time putting themselves first, especially when women become mothers and grandmothers and we just become responsible for more people in our lives. It becomes more and more of a challenge to prioritize ourselves. And I believe a lot of that is shaped from what we've witnessed growing up. If we've witnessed women in our lives sacrificing their own needs for the sake of the people around them, we think it's normal. And I'm not saying that circumstances didn't require self-sacrifice. I understand that everyone's life path is unique, but ultimately we always have a choice, and we can choose to keep self-sacrificing until we reach burnout and we feel complete resentment and we have no idea why, or we can choose to work slowly towards balancing the scale. Nobody is saying to put yourself first so much that nobody else matters. Of course, the people that we love matter, but we can't truly be giving from a fully loving place if we are running on empty. When we give to someone because we feel like we don't have a choice, or because they're expecting something of us, or if I don't do it, no one's going to do it, is that true love? Does that feel wholehearted? Not really. When someone does something for us and they don't want to do it, but they feel like they have to do it, it's not a good feeling. In order to purify our love for other people in our lives, we must take care of ourselves in a way that leaves us feeling fulfilled, prioritized, and cared for. Only then can we start giving to others endlessly without feeling depleted, because we made sure that we're coming from a whole place. To be completely transparent, that point in which you can give endlessly without feeling depleted still requires discernment, meaning you can still be filled with self-love and you prioritize your needs and you make sure that you're happy, and still know when to say no, and still know when to tell someone that you cannot give your energy and your time to them right at this moment or right when they need you. That's one part of it. And another part is accepting that it will take time. It's not going to happen because for one day of the week, you decided to put yourself first and now your cup is filled and it's going to be so easy to give to other people endlessly now. Not at all. It really depends on how long you've been neglecting your own needs for the sake of other people. This doesn't mean that it's going to take years for you to reestablish that balance, but it might take weeks and months. For me, I think it took months, because I really had to get out of that guilt trip that I would put myself in whenever I would put myself first. And that might not be the case for everyone, but it definitely was for me. Now I'm at a point, thank God, where I can establish boundaries and not feel guilty. My self-worth is no longer tied to how giving I am to other people and how useful I can be to other people. And now when I give, it's from pure love, and it's not out of obligation, and it's not out of fear that someone will think I don't love them as much or care for them as much. And it feels good for me every time I give, and it makes the receiver feel a lot better because it's clean and it's pure giving, and there's no negativity tied into the giving. I'm going to discuss 4 steps that I covered on my written post on Instagram and on Threads to further unpack this topic. The 4 steps are as follows. 1. Learn to master selective compassion. 2. Practice being unapologetically unavailable. 3. Make your dreams non-negotiable. And 4. Accept all compliments with confidence. Let's get straight into step 1. Learn to master selective compassion. One of the beautiful things about being a woman is that it's a lot easier for us to empathize with other people. And it's a lot easier for us to have compassion for others and what they're going through. Even if we might not know them that well, someone can confide in us their problems and their struggles because we are more in tune with our emotional side. It's a lot easier for us to resonate with other people's emotions, regardless or not if we're in a similar circumstance to them. We can know very well that someone else is experiencing their own circumstances and their own inner turmoil because of the actions that they decided to take in their life. But that doesn't mean that we don't feel for them in a way, because we understand that we've experienced all different kinds of emotions throughout our life. And we know which feelings are pleasant and we know which feelings are unpleasant. When we're in the unpleasant emotions, it can feel really uncomfortable. And sometimes as women, we just want to vent about it and talk about it to get it off our chest. But the truth is, with venting, if there is no intention behind it, meaning if the person that is venting to you, and this goes for us as well, if we are venting and we don't have a goal in mind, such as we're venting to get unstuck, perhaps we're feeling down and we don't want to feel down anymore, so we want to get to the bottom of our feelings so that we can move on, or we can be venting so that we can get an outside perspective on the situation and perhaps take accountability for our part in a situation. But many times what can happen is that we can vent to others and others can vent to us, and there is no intention behind it. We just want someone to validate our feelings and tell us that we have every right to feel the way that we feel, whether it's like a victim, whether like life is unfair, we have a right to be sad, we have a right to be angry, we have a right to be bitter, fill in the blank. Now, whether we realize it or not, this takes a toll on us emotionally. If you think about the last time someone vented to you, there's a bit of an exhaustive feeling that we experience afterwards. And it's not because we actually moved around physically. We were probably staying in one spot, but all of a sudden it's as if we lost energy and were drained when we really didn't say much. We were just being a listening ear. And this is because when we give our energy and our time to things that do not uplift us, it ends up draining us and taking from us. Now, this doesn't mean that when people vent to us, we can never listen to them or we should never listen to them, but we can practice cutting the conversation a little bit short, especially if we notice that the person venting and complaining doesn't even want to feel better. And that might sound harsh, but this is practicing discernment in real time. If we want to continue being givers to ourselves and to the people that we love, we cannot be expending our energy on things that will truly have us feeling drained. This step is in black and white, so it is a bit tricky if you are that friend or that family member that is the listening ear and everyone goes to you for their problems. But I promise you, they are going to keep coming to you until you put your foot down and establish some boundaries. Those boundaries can look like setting a timer on your phone without letting them know. Set a timer for 5 minutes, allow them to express how they feel, and then let them know that you hear them and you feel for them and that you have some things you have to take care of and that you will follow up with them later. That's it. And later can be any time you feel like it. Anytime you feel like your energy is restored and you feel ready to give to that person even more. Because once you start to feel like your energy is being drained, you're no longer giving and listening because you love to do it. It's because you feel obligated to do it. And you don't want to do anything from that mindset and that energy because it's only going to drain you, not the other person, just you. It's up to us to decide what we're capable of giving without losing parts of ourselves in the process. There are moments when we're fully recharged and we have full energy and we've totally poured into ourselves and giving feels very easy. In those moments, you can extend extra compassion to those that you love and care about. But in those moments when you've had a long day, you didn't really sleep well, you didn't really eat anything, and someone in your life is asking for your time, for your energy, for your compassion, that's when you get to decide if you are going to put your needs first or the other person's needs first. It's not the other person's responsibility to pick up on whether or not you're drained and whether or not you had a long day. It doesn't even matter if you subtly mention it to them. We must be the ones to prioritize ourselves first, and then other people will follow suit and they will have no choice but to respect that boundary. In the beginning, people that are used to you overextending yourself might get offended. They might take it personally. And the truth is, let them. That has nothing to do with you. The way that people feel and the way that people act are their responsibility. The same thing goes for us. The way that we feel and the way that we react to other people is our responsibility. No one forces us to feel a certain way. No one forces us to act a certain way. We always have that choice. If we want to believe that other people push us to do things and feel things, that means we're giving our power away. And that means someone else is always going to control how you act in life. And you don't want to live like that, at the mercy of other people. Step 2, practice being unapologetically unavailable. I love this step because personally, I have noticed that I need serious time to myself in order to be the full giver that I want to be. Like I mentioned earlier, it is in my nature to want to give endlessly to anyone and everyone that I love and care about. Now that I'm also on social media, I'm on Instagram and I'm on Threads, that requires extra energy for me to respond to other people and interact with them. And I love all of it. I appreciate all of it. But that takes energy, just like everything else in my life. And I have had to learn that I need time every single day to be unapologetically unavailable. So what I do is I set my phone on Do Not Disturb multiple times a day when I need time to myself to recharge, so that when I show up in the world, whether it's on social media, whether it's with my family and my friends, I'm not coming from a place of resentment and I'm not coming from a place of obligation. It's truly coming from love and because I truly want to give and focus on them. But it's very hard to focus on other people and prioritize other people when we don't prioritize ourselves. This is why this step is so important. Every time someone asks you for a small favor, you're going to get overwhelmed because you haven't allowed yourself to regroup. The more accessible we try to be to other people, the more disconnected we become from ourselves. So think about that every single day. Did you take time out for yourself to recharge so that you can show up wholeheartedly for the people that you love? You can always tell whether or not you took time to yourself by how you feel when you're giving to others. If you feel drained, if you feel resentful, if you feel exhausted, if you feel like you would rather be doing nothing, that's how you know. That's how you know that you need to take time for yourself as soon as possible. Some days we're going to need more time to recharge and be by ourselves. And other days we don't need that much time. It truly depends. Never judge yourself for how much energy you seem to have on a certain day. Go with the flow of your body. When I first started enforcing these boundaries in my life and with the people that I love, I definitely noticed that I needed a lot more time to recharge, like hours. And I felt bad because it wasn't that I didn't want to spend time with the people that I love, but I realized how little I was spending time with myself. And when I fully allowed myself to take all the time that I needed until I got sick and tired of spending time with myself, which honestly, it's hard for me to get to that point. But when I get bored, my energy is at 100 and I'm able to really just be fully present with the people in my life and give to them like I've never given to them before. My tip for this step is to prioritize rest, silence, and space daily. It is a necessity, and it is what keeps us truly recharged. Step 3, make your dreams non-negotiable. This is something I didn't do until 6 months ago because I didn't really have any dreams, if that makes sense. I had ideas on how I wanted my future to play out. I had a dream house, a dream life, but never something that was tied to purpose or passion. Not even my job. I love my job because I can be a giver and I love working with children as an occupational therapist, but I knew it wasn't my passion. It wasn't something that I would feel excited to do if I didn't get paid to do it. So if you are in a similar place in your life where you don't know what your dream is, you're not concerned with dreaming right now, that's fine. I believe that your dreams find you. There was definitely a point when I was pursuing occupational therapy where I was a little frustrated because I knew that that wasn't my passion, but I just didn't know what my passion was. And instead of doing nothing, I figured, let me pursue something that will support my passion when I do figure it out. And then eventually I'll cross over into my passion full time and I'll leave occupational therapy behind. And that is still my plan, and it worked out. For my dreamers, if you have a passion for something that you would love to do full time, even if it's not today, not this month, not this year, even if it's in 5 years from now, you would love to switch gears. It's important to honor your dreams as soon as possible. And you can do this in very small ways. When I first had a desire to start a podcast, it only existed in my mind. The idea would pop in my head a lot, and it would make me happy to think about, wow, could I really do this one day? And eventually it went from just a thought in my head to the people around me talking about podcasts. And I would always joke with my friends and tell them, oh, we should start a podcast together. And I think they thought I was joking, but I was so serious. I just never knew what I wanted to talk about, so I never took action on it. It wasn't until I decided to make my dreams a non-negotiable that I started to take real action. I started by researching how to even create a podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. I also had to come up with a name for the podcast, and then I had to brainstorm different ideas of topics I would discuss, and so on and so forth. When we allow ourselves to pour into our dreams, even if it's for 5 minutes a day, even if it's just planning for the day that you actually decide to go after them, that will recharge you significantly. And I can't explain why, other than I believe your dreams are tied to your purpose on earth, but I guarantee that when you start to do that, you will feel that shift internally, and you will feel yourself light up a little bit more, and your heart will feel more full than it has ever felt before. So don't allow your dreams to stay dreams. Don't allow them to stay as an idea in your head. I promise you, the reason why it's in your head and it keeps resurfacing is because you are meant to take action on it. And the thing is, with dreams, it will never fall into your lap. You have to take that leap of faith on yourself and believe that the idea in your head is in your head for a reason. That was something that I really had to come to terms with before I actually started taking action. I believe following your dreams is essential for becoming self-focused. It allows you to go to sleep every night knowing that you poured into yourself, that you trusted yourself to create something, and you will realize that you are the source of your own light. You are the one that's lighting yourself up, but it needs to be done regularly, not occasionally. Just like rest, just like silence, just like space. Step 4, accept all compliments with confidence. This is a more relaxed step, in my opinion. It's less about taking initiative, right? Because to accept compliments, someone has to compliment you first. This can be a tricky step for many of us women. I don't know where it originated from, but somehow many of us women believe that accepting a compliment in front of other people, or maybe not in front of other people, maybe just one-to-one, accepting a compliment means that we're full of ourselves, that we're conceited. That is completely false. Accepting compliments, in my opinion, is very important, and I believe it affects the way we look at ourselves and the way that we feel about ourselves. The body is always listening. The mind is always listening. Our subconscious is always absorbing information. And if someone tells us something amazing about ourselves and we reject it, we're telling our body and our mind that we reject the good that someone sees in us. Meaning, when we are alone and we want to feel amazing about ourselves and capable and beautiful in our own skin, it's going to be hard because every time someone else is trying to confirm what they see in us, we dismiss it, we disagree, we dispute it. And so we have to be very aware of how we respond to compliments, even if it's something that we don't see in ourselves yet. We don't always see the good things in ourselves. Many times we focus on the things that need improvement and neglect the things that come easy to us. I know for me, whenever someone would tell me I'm such a good helper, I would just roll my eyes to the back of my head. And honestly, now that I'm saying it out loud, it's probably because I was building resentment in the moment. But the truth is, I am a great helper. I do know how to make the lives around me a lot easier. And I never allowed myself to fully accept that. So honestly, I never felt like my giving was enough. I would just keep giving to people because I never felt like I was helping as much as I could and that I can always help more. It's crazy to realize how powerful accepting compliments can be. I also don't believe that there's any coincidences in life. So whenever I do receive a compliment now, I think of it as confirmation from God, from the universe, reaffirming what is already true. And in that moment, when I get that confirmation of something positive within me being reflected back to me in a very obvious way, I get to decide, do I agree? Is this true? And when I look at it from that point of view, yes, I agree. Of course I agree. I want all of the good that people see in me to be true. And it is true if I believe it's true. It's that simple. So the next time that someone compliments you, whether you understand where they're coming from or not, whether you think it's sincere or not, you take that compliment and you allow it to remind you of how amazing you already are. No more thinking that accepting compliments is negative. It is honestly the ultimate test of confidence. Can you receive praise in a room full of other people that might be insecure and stand tall? That's powerful. Allow compliments to affirm all the hard work you've been putting into yourself, because many times we don't realize how far we've come in life. Whether it's taking care of ourselves, our appearance, whether it's developing our character and becoming a more mature, confident person, allow it to remind you that focusing on yourself has been paying off. And not only have you changed, but people are noticing the change within you. I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. I really love talking about this topic because it's something I really had to figure out the hard way through life experience. And I'm glad I had to do it the hard way because there are no shortcuts to becoming confident in life. I know that people say fake it till you make it, but that's just not the case. It ends up being a performance, and you don't want to perform your confidence. You want to feel it internally. I hope these steps can help you feel more confident focusing on yourself. And you will notice how focusing on yourself will make you feel more confident. If you liked this episode, please rate this podcast and share it with a friend, family member, anyone that you think would benefit from listening to this. I love you all. Have an amazing week. Until next time, bye for now.